What's going on, guys? Today we are back with another video. This time we have something different than what we've done ever before on the channel, and we have a tier list. We have a tier list today of every single MCU film. So any Marvel Cinematic film that's been released up until Spider-Man Far From Home. I'm doing this just because the other day I finished watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier, as that series just came to a close day before yesterday. I would say that was a very, very good show. There's a couple things that I wish that they talked a little bit more on. Torres being the next Falcon, as he was in the comics. I do like the fact of what they're most likely setting up to be the Thunderbolts, with Thaddeus Ross being in charge of the raft, which is now where Zemo is, which is now where I'm assuming, well, that's where they were going to take the other super soldiers, the Flag Smashers, but I'm assuming John Walker, U.S. agent, is going to be part of that. I think Val's going to have a chance. Is going to be a reason why he's going to be brought into that program. I think she's working for Thaddeus Ross. I didn't set this up. I just found this on the tier maker, which I'll leave a link to. I'll leave a link to this actual tier list down in the comments below for you guys to check out. And please let me know what you disagree with or what you agree with. So, I don't know what order this is in, but first we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I think this movie, let me see. It was entertaining. I wouldn't say it was a great movie, necessarily. I think I prefer the first one, which we'll get to later. So I think just right off the bat, I think it's a solid B tier of a movie. I mean, you still have the same humor as the first one, but it's just not to that same level. I think AntMan and the Wasp is another one as the next one. I think it's another one that's just like that. It's too similar to the same. And I'm going to put that a little bit lower. I think I prefer Guardians Volume 2 over that. The first Ant-Man film, while we're on that, the first Ant-Man film, it had the comedy involved in that, plus the action, plus, actual story-driven, introducing us to a character that we then see later on in Civil War and really see what his powers contain. So I'm going to throw that up into B tier. This isn't in any specific order within the tiers. It's just kind of, these are the B tier movies, and then A tier, so on and so forth. Next, we have Avengers Age of Ultron. See, this one's really hard for me to place properly. When I first watched it, I was like, this movie's great. I then watched it again. I was like, okay, this movie's not very good. I watched it again. Like, okay, still movie's not very good. I've now watched it pretty recently, and I'm like, okay, it's not bad. I don't think it's still a good movie. So I think this one has to go, I'm debating between B and C, like low B, high C. And for the sake of that, we'll put it in B. And that one, or we'll put it in C, excuse me, and we'll move that one up. I know I literally just said that these don't matter, but we'll move it up there and we'll keep it in mind for later. Avengers Infinity War, without a without a question, as I hesitate, definitely an S tier, in my opinion. Just to see the culmination of something that we've been looking for how long has that been out? 12 years? Yeah, 12 years from when this movie came out. As a culmination, I think it's incredible. Black Panther. This one's interesting. I thought it was a very, very good movie. I'm pretty sure this is the only one that was nominated for Best Picture. Yes, it was. Yeah. And like, not taking anything away from the movie itself, but I don't think that should have been the one that gets the only Best Picture award level. So in my opinion, I'm going to throw that in A. I don't think it's a bad movie in any respect, and I really, really enjoy that movie, but I don't think it's as up there as a lot of people say it is. Next, we're going to Civil War. Again, I love the kind of political drama, political thriller. Well, wait, no. What am I saying? No, that's Winter Soldier. Wow. Civil War, I still think is a very good movie. Not the political, but still kind of the political aspect of things with the Sokovia Accords. So I kind of like how that plays out, and I like that they're butting their two main guys against each other in this, and kind of forming a rift, but at the same time not forming a rift. There's not really a difference between the two. And I think that kind of is the first place that we see the two different arcs really come out. The first Avenger, I like this movie. I like the Captain America character more than the Iron Man character in this. I always have. I'm going to throw it an A. It's going to be an A tier. And here's the political thriller. That's going to be an S tier movie for me. I definitely think that there's a lot of... That's kind of where the potential, I think, of that franchise really got going. Yes, the first one was good, but the first one was definitely more of a period piece. Not a period piece per se, but more focused on the setting than the actual character itself, if that makes sense. Next, we're moving to Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange, it was entertaining. I don't know if I'd go A or B for this one. It worked very, very well as a origin story for him, and I did like kind of the mystical aspect and seeing all that kind of stuff, which you see then again in Infinity War and in Endgame. So I think we're going to leave it there. Like we were talking about earlier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, all those guys that were a part of that movie did a very, very good job with each other and kind of creating the chemistry in that movie. Iron Man 2. I know a lot of people think Iron Man 2 is probably one of the worst Marvel movies. I'm not going to say it's the worst, but I'm also not going to put it at least A tier. It's B or C for me. Because this was the one with Whiplash. So it's another typical just villain. There wasn't really any much background to him. They didn't kind of talk about who he is as a character. So I think in that aspect, I'm gonna put it C tier. I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that. We'll move it B. Still bottom of the B though. Iron Man 3. Is it my first D tier? This was the Mandarin and all the suits, wasn't it? Yes, this was the Mandarin, which wasn't the Mandarin that we're now getting in Shang-Chi, or however you pronounce that properly. Yeah, we'll go C tier on that one. I don't think it's quite D tier material. Iron Man, you have to put that all the way up top. There's no question about it. The first Iron Man, to have something like that kicked off this whole kind of series, it had to be good. A lot of people were like, oh, but it wasn't as good as it could have been. I'm like, okay, right. But you got to remember, this movie came out a couple months around when the Dark Knight movie came out. The second in Christopher Nolan, Christian Bale, Batman trilogy that they had. So I think a lot of people overlooked Iron Man just to see Dark Knight, which I think Dark Knight's a better movie than Iron Man. But I still think Iron Man meant more to comic book fans in movies, if that makes any sense to anybody. But moving on, SpiderMan Homecoming. The first Spider-Man movie in the MCU, and the starting off kind of all of Tom Holland, his run, and all that. Actually, it didn't start off. It started off in Civil War. I think it's an entertaining movie. I don't know if I want to go in the B tier or A. It's right in the middle of these two. I think we'll chuck it in A. I think we'll chuck it in the bottom of A. Incredible Hulk was incredibly bad. I think we can just leave it there and not talk about it anymore. Sorry if that's one of your top 5 movies in the MCU. I apologize. I think it was horrible. The first Avengers movie. Again, just like Iron Man, the first kind of team up movie of this caliber, I think you have to put it highly, regardless of... I'm not saying that you have to put it in S tier, regardless of the movie itself, but you have to put it that high just for what it meant in the universe itself. Thor, the Bad World. Thor, the Dark World. I think we're putting that basically the same as where the Incredible Hulk is. Next, we're moving on to the first Thor. Entertaining, not necessarily a good movie. An entertaining movie, but not a quality movie. That's going to go a little bit higher than the second one. I think they progressed down. and then into Thor Ragnarok with Taika Waititi definitely went up quite a bit. I'm solidly putting that mid A table for sure. Next, Captain Marvel. I know a lot of people really hate on Brie Larson and Captain Marvel. I don't get it. I personally, like, I really don't understand what the hate is with her. The Captain Marvel was a very kind of very typical origin story for somebody like her. So I think it's going to go kind of high beat. Ooh. That is where you figured out what happened to Nick Fury's eye. He gets scratched by a cat.
That was a close call, huh, Goose? Those bad guys still in there somewhere. Oh, mother!
That's fine in B. That was a really disappointing thing that happened there. Avengers Endgame. Again, these are one movie in my mind. I don't think you can watch Infinity War without watching Endgame right after it, and you can't watch Endgame without watching Infinity War right before it. I definitely think that they're two movies that really are meant to be one, and I think they definitely started out as one movie, as one super long movie, but I'm glad that they split it up and made us wait that year-long gap between the two of them. Moving on to the last one is Spider-Man Far From Home. Definitely worse than the first Spider-Man, but not by much. I think it was just a very generic. I liked how they introduced what is his name? Mysterio. I don't know. I was watching WandaVision recently. Mephisto was the only M name that was coming to my head, was Mephisto or Magneto, and I'm like, no, it's neither of those. Mysterio, obviously. And with him just creating these other monsters that were characters themselves in Spider-Man comics, I thought it was a really cool idea. So I think it's solidly in the B tier. I don't think it's not a low B, but definitely not a high B. It's kind of just right in the middle of things. But those are the movies. For TV shows, I'd probably throw Falcon and the Winter Soldier up in A. I'd throw WandaVision B. I do like the sitcom aspect of things, but I think it was a little slow to start out with. I understand why, in the context of the whole show, I understand why they started it like that. But I think it grew, and it made me super excited for Spider-Man 3, the Sega Doctor Strange movie, Multiverse of Madness. I think it's going to be a good lead up to all of that. But that's going to do it for us today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Leave a like if you've enjoyed. Leave a comment of what you would change or what movies that you would rearrange. I apologize if I've, insulted your favorite MCU movie by putting it low. But that's my opinions, so that's going to do it for me. Take care. Peace.